Are you listening? Damn. Yeah.
Welcome to another amazing episode of Boss Talks. I'm here with the amazing Christine Drummond. And of course, you know me, I'm Joel Lord. And before we even get started, if this is your first time listening to the podcast, welcome. You are in the right place. The reason why Christine and I are so passionate about doing this podcast, the reason why we take time out of our busy schedule to do this is one, we love it. And two, we want to see as many people, and that's you, the listener, take control of your life, really take the driver's seat in your life and take control and become the boss of your life. That's why we call it Boss Talks. So this does not come cheaply. There is a fee. And the fee is if you get value, or you know what, I am so confident when you get value, just share it. That's it. We're not running ads on it. We're doing this as an organic podcast. We are not taking sponsorship currently. So the way the word gets out and the way you make the world a better place is to share something that you find valuable. And you know what? Something that I watched Joe Dispenza say the other day, which really stuck with me, was that, the world needs people helping people. Freely sharing information to each other that helps us all grow and raise our level of consciousness. So we've all got to do our part, because that's how we're going to fix the messy parts of what the world is. Like I'm a positive guy, and the world is an amazing place. There's amazing people doing amazing things. There's some stuff that needs some work. And the way we raise the consciousness and help people all get the best out of life is to share this information. So if you get value and when you get value, share it. Well, with that out of the road, Christine, today we've got something that's, we feel pretty strongly about, and it's kind of like the solution to a trap that many of us get into, and I see it all the time. It's the strategy versus action, and so many people out there are doing lots of accumulation of knowledge, and they're mistaking that for the action part. Like, sure, it has its place, but until you apply it, and that takes action, how are you ever going to reap the rewards from learning the knowledge? So, Christine, welcome to the podcast. And yeah, what do you reckon?
Amazing intro, Joel, once again. I do feel strongly about this topic because I was a self-development junkie and I had a lot of shelf help. I would go to a seminar, I'd take all the notes, and then the book would go on the shelf and I wouldn't look at it again. And then I'd go to the next thing, the next seminar, go and talk with the next coach, and again, I would learn all this gold, but I wouldn't apply it, or I'd just apply one or two things. And I was going from different course, different seminar, different book, and I wasn't just sticking with the one coach or the one method. It was like I was just hopping around, and I don't know if the listeners can relate to that. I know I'm going to do a shout out to my friend Val Gamer. We were chatting the other day. Her husband has given her a personal development ban because she was doing the same thing. Good on you, Sonny. She was doing the same thing, and he just said, you're not applying anything, so enough's enough. Go and start actually applying all the years worth of self-development that you've learned. So I think it was Jim Rohn that said, knowledge isn't power, applied knowledge is power. You can be the smartest person in the room, but unless you're applying what you know, then it's useless. And the quickest way that I find to get all the knowledge that you're learning to sink in is to teach it on. So that's where I really love, like, this podcast is amazing for it. But if you don't have a podcast, you could just do it Facebook Lives, or you could do it in your Facebook posts or on social media, or teach it to your family, teach it to your kids, whatever you're learning out there in regards to strategy, in regards to business. then go and teach it on, and then that way it's going to sink in. What are your thoughts around that, Joel?
100%. And like, I've done a lot of personal development. I've hopped around all around the world, and I've learned from some of the best. Some not so much the best, and like, everything in between. So I've got a lot of notes as well. And something that Ed Milet shared on one of his podcasts, he said, when you go to an event, if you don't want it to become shelf development, don't just have a notebook there, have a calendar out. Have your calendar out, and when you get an aha moment, something that is an action step that will make an impact in your business, get your calendar out and schedule it in. And don't just do a half-assed version of scheduling in. Like, schedule it in like it's many people will schedule in a specialist's appointment, a doctor, and it takes 6 months to get into this person, or a dentist or something. So and if you miss that appointment, you got to wait another 6 months or something like that. You don't miss that appointment. So if you do the same, like if you're doing that for someone else, because you're really doing it kind of for the specialist, right? Why wouldn't you do it for yourself? So like that's one part. Like, if you want to get right out of the gate with a strategy to not have that happen for you, apply it straight away. And I see it all the time. I was having a discussion recently about, with a couple of people, and a really common theme that's come up is like, I've paid for the business coach, I paid for the branding, I paid for the Facebook ads, I've paid for all this other stuff. I've done all the learning. Why hasn't it affected my business? Why am I not making any more money? What has the coach not shown me? And I'm, it was really confronting for them, because I actually said, well, the coaching was one part, but if you took a step back and saw what their value ladder was and how they run their business and how the hell they got you in to the coaching business, like, maybe that is the learning that you're getting from them, So, take the action. If you're not actually, like, coaches can give you, just like Google, hundreds of thousands of strategies, okay? But you only need one. You need to apply it. It's not, if you're not applying it, how can you expect to make any money? And here's the thing that really gets a lot of people. You can't expect to leave pieces out, and like, this is another whole podcast. Christine and I were discussing it before off air, like, about sales, but you can have the pre-banner, you can have the photo shoot, you can have the business headshots, you can have the business cards, you can have this amazing program that you've created. But if you leave the sales part out, how are you ever going to make any money? And if the reverse is the same, if you think all you're going to do is jump on the phone and sell to people, and you don't do any marketing, how are you ever going to get people on the phone? You know what I mean? So you've actually got to take the action. But like, getting back to our original point, what this whole thing's about is, strategy. Google is full of strategies, guys, but you got to work out what it is in your mind and your mindset that's preventing you from actually actioning them, because it's in the action. Like, you can't go to the bank and pay your mortgage, or go to the real estate agent and pay your rent, or your power bill, or your phone bill with all these strategies. They won't take it. They won't take positive vibes. I don't know why, but they only take money. So you got to take action. Look, this is transferable everywhere, isn't it, Christine? Like, it's honestly bank account to weight to health, spirituality, all of it. You can't just read a spirituality book and then you're spiritual. No more than you could read a book about swimming and just assume you can swim because you read the book. The only way you know if you can swim or not, if the book worked, is if you jump in the pool. Rant. Rant over, Christine.
I love it. I love your little rants. I love it. Yeah, totally. And this, absolutely, it's applicable to all areas of your life. The listeners know that we are massive fans of positive parenting and consciously parenting, right? So I jumped on a webinar this morning for an hour to learn how to be a better parent, to learn how to deal with the no's and the conflict that's, I suppose, comes up as a parent. So it's like, even as a parent, guys, if you're not looking to self-develop yourself in that area, like, oh my goodness, like you're flying by the seat of your pants, and you're probably going to make the same mistakes or pass down the same limiting beliefs and, you know, the crazy things that get passed down from generation to generation. So even as a parent, if you do nothing else, you're a stay-at-home parent, you don't have a business, you don't work or whatever, you should still be looking to personally develop yourself in that area. You know what I mean? It's the same with fitness. It's the same with, as Joel said, spirituality and things like that. But here's what I see out there, Joel, and I don't know if you agree with this. People are looking for the shortcut. They love that they can go to a one-day course, a 3-day course, and they think they're going to get the secret sauce. They think they're going to get the shortcut to success. And I don't know whether do you think it's laziness, or do you think it's like just that mentality that we just want to take the shortest road possible to get there? I don't know. Like, I'm just seeing out there that a lot of people are bunny hopping from self-development course or program to program or book to book, not applying anything, and just keep looking for the secret sauce that is going to make them the millions. Like, is that what you're noticing as well?
100%. And the what really made sense to me was people, like, I heard it and I've quoted it so many times, people mistake easy for happy. They think, oh, this is meant to be easy. Once I get the secret sauce, this is going to be easy. I'll get to the top of my company when I get the secret sauce. When I get, get this new strategy, it's going to be easy to make money, because there's so many people out there selling you that their system makes it easy to, like, make millions on Amazon, make millions in network marketing, make millions in all this. It's like they're selling up the garden path, and easy doesn't make happy. Like that one time you were drinking that beer on the beach and you were really, really happy, that's locked into so many people's brains that's how all of life's meant to be. And it's not. Like I keep on saying, like, like the happiness is found in the growth, and the growth is found in the overcoming of challenges. So, like, stop looking for easy. The application is hard. Like, we're currently building, stuff for our business, Christine, and it's not easy. I know how to do it. So we're putting our website and our membership areas together. And I've got the knowledge. I've had the knowledge for a long time, but until we get it all together and face the challenges and it's not going to, parts of it's not going to work, and we've just got to keep going until it smooths out. But it's not going to be easy. We've already got challenges in our business. The podcast is challenging, to get more reach. But do you give up? No, but did we go do 12 how to do a podcast personal development days? But I think most people would. They'd be blaming the camera, or they'd be blaming the microphone, or they'd be blaming YouTube, or they'd be blaming, that person's got money for ads. Because they're looking for it to be easy, and it's not going to be easy. So, I got a question, on that, when it comes to action, Christine, how do you know, or how do the listeners know, when it's time to actually pull the pin, when it's incorrect action, when you have, say you took on, you went and did a new program, or you got a new coach or something like that. How do they know that the action is not the right action? We say take action and to be consistent, but how long do you take that for? What do you believe?
Oh, well, I really feel like you can't implement an action for a short period of time and go, I tried it, and then give up and move to the next thing. You've got to give it the respect and the time that it deserves for you to implement it. I know that I've had 12-month coaching contracts with coaches. Now, it took months and months and months, and sometimes the full 12 months before I saw the real benefit and the real result of that investment. You know what I mean? Of learning the strategies, and it takes time to implement. we can go to all these self-development things and we come back from a high, feeling really good about it. And it takes time to go then implement what we've just learned. Like, we can't just expect it to happen overnight. So I don't know if there's a perfect time to implement things, or to take a course, and then if it doesn't work, change it a little bit, or find something new that will work. But you've got to give things time. Like, so many people, how many people have we seen, Joel, that jump on the ClickFunnels wagon, and they'll do some Facebook ads, and they'll just do one round of Facebook ads, and they're like, oh, it didn't work, and I lost like $1,000, and that's it. They never try it again. Like, you can't do that. Like, things take time, and it's the compounding as well. So if you do implement a strategy, the skills and the competency that you're learning from implementing that action, it's actually compounding for you over time. So you're getting better and better. And I just want to read this quote that I found earlier as well, because this is where I really feel the school system lets us down, Joel. And I know we've both got our, we're like, the school system serves a purpose, let's face it, but it could be fixed. It's very outdated. But this quote is basically what it says is, the real people, in the real world, the smartest people are people who make the mistakes and learn. In school, the smartest people don't make mistakes. And that's exactly what we're set up. We're set up to fit in the box, to do things a certain way that's accepted by society. Failure is it's not looked upon as a positive.
Yep.
We're told that if we fail in school, or if we fail a grade, or if we get that question wrong, or we don't do 100% on that test, then we're doing something, there's something wrong with us. We're not perfect. We're not going to succeed in society. Well, I'm here to call bullshit on that. And we see story after story of these amazing entrepreneurs who were told at school that they would never make anything of themselves. Their career advisors told them just to go and work in a supermarket because you'll never amount to anything, or they couldn't sit still for 5 minutes at school. Their attention was always flying over the place. And then these entrepreneurs come out with these amazing ideas that speed of implementation, like, it's actually served them in the real world. You know what I mean? Like, I'm just sick and tired of the system trying to box us in these boxes. And we're becoming fucking sheeple, and we're just doing it. We're just following the masses. So today we're here being raw and real with you guys to say, stop being a sheeple, stop following the masses. Like, stop being told what to do all the time, and step away from that and go, you know what? I've got this inner greatness within me. I don't have to be the smartest person. I don't have to wait for the perfect conditions. I don't have to wait for the right timing. Fuck that. The timing is never perfect. The conditions are never right. Like, they're never perfect, but just give it a crack. It was like when we started this podcast, we'd never done a podcast before. We thought, let's just do it. We don't need to go to any podcast courses. We don't need to do all that. We just Google a few things online, and then we found out how to put one together, and then bang, we just did it. So we want to give you guys that confidence to go out there and go, you know what? You don't have to fit into society's mold. You can absolutely go and get into your creative juices, your flow, and go and implement some of the stuff that's out. There's amazing free content out there, Joel, including this amazing podcast, which I believe is like the best podcast out there.
It is.
But there's all this free information out there. It doesn't have to cost you a cent to improve yourself, does it? No,
and you're absolutely right. And funny, it's funny. No, I love that. That was really like hitting the points I like truly believe in, because in school, like, I got you said that you go work at a grocery store. I got told that, but then I went and bought it. So I went and bought the bloody grocery store, and I couldn't be bothered at school. I knew and I'll call them out. I was smarter than the teachers. Especially street smarts, and I knew what they were teaching me was useless. Like, I just need to know how to add, subtract, and read and write. Once I got to there, that was it. I didn't care about the rest, and I certainly wasn't interested in going and getting a good job and paying the tax that system that gets you to do. Obviously, you need to learn the social skills. Obviously, you need to learn how to learn. Obviously, you need to learn how to read and write. So, as you said, there are massive upsides to it. But yes, it is outdated. But what cheeses me off is that you get in trouble for working together. There's no cooperation. You get busted for it. You do get that big red mark if you make a mistake. No wonder people are frightened of making a mistake. And, I think it was Robert De Niro, actually, who got asked, and I've stolen it. I use this every time. You know that cliche question, what advice would you give your 20-year-old self? And I was like, make more mistakes way earlier. Oh, my goodness. If I could change one thing in my life, it would be I would go back to when I was 20 and I'd make I made lots of mistakes. I made enough anyway, but I was so frightened of them and I made myself feel so bad and like a complete failure for making them that I was so frightened of them. And it took me until I was in my mid-30s just to start letting go of that. And it's only recently, pretty much since I met you, Christine, that I'm willing to make mistakes like the way that I do these days. I'm willing to make a bit of a git of myself in front of people, make a fool of myself, trying my best. I found a way to make it fun. I've found a way to take action. And I think that's why one of the big reasons why people keep on running to the next person to find the next strategy, the secret sauce, rather than doing it. You're frightened of someone's opinion. Could be your mum, your dad. You hear Gary Vee say it all the time. You just got to face that. One way or another, like write a letter that you're never going to send, telling them to get stuff. Go have that coffee with them, say, I'm doing it anyway. Like Christine's got an amazing story. People, like her family still expects her to be a police officer. Well, look what she's doing. She's a world-leading coach and speaker, international speaker, and top of a company in an MLM, and that's not a police officer. That's not the normal, but she's had that conversation and said, that's not what lights me up. Like Christine's not frightened to step out and take the action. So yeah, take the action. Don't be frightened.
And I love that you put in there, mate, that you've got to put the fun spin on it, don't you? You've got to get a little bit silly. You can't be all serious and in business mode and just strive. It has to be fun. If it's not lighting you up and if it's not fun, you're doing it wrong, and a little bit of my silliness has definitely rubbed off on you, and I love that. And I think that's why we work together so well.
A pink tutu on my head, far out.
Yeah, I love it. Yeah, I bought Joel a tutu.
You guys don't know what I'm talking about, but trust me, there was a incident with a pink tutu.
But and for the listeners that don't know, I'm a wormer. I'm a massive wormer. That's my thing. That's my go-to move. It's my party trick. I don't know why I sort of hung it up. I used to do it at school a lot, and then it came back out in about 10 years later in my 30s. And it's my way that I just get to be a little bit silly. I don't need to drink to pull out the worm. I don't need to be drunk or anything like that. It's just something that allows me to drop back into that fun state and make people smile and make people laugh. And I think we need to do more of that. What's something fun that you love to do? How can you be funnier? How can you bring more sense of humor, I suppose, to the situation, to your business, to your life, to parenting, to your fitness? I just see so many people out there just taking life too seriously, and we don't have to do that. We got to bring back the fun. And I'm talking to myself, more than anyone on here today. I've definitely dropped the fun over the last few weeks, but that's a whole nother podcast. But today I just want to get back to Joel. For me, it does come down a lot to the scheduling. I love doing a brain dump in the mornings when I'm in my creative state. I just drop all these ideas. And if I'm out on a run and I have an idea, I grab my phone, it goes straight in as a voice message or in the notes section of my phone. And then I schedule in that creative time. I schedule in my high paying activities. I schedule in my sales calls. I schedule in the self-development, the podcast time, the meditations. Everything gets scheduled, because if it doesn't get scheduled, it doesn't get done. Out of sight, out of mind. So if you're here listening to this today and you're thinking, oh, I wish I was better at time management. Well, you can't manage time, guys, but what you can manage is yourself and where you direct your focus and where you spend your time. And if you don't start directing your focus to the things that you can implement that are going to get you closer to the goals or where you want to be, then the world's going to come along and steal your focus. They're going to distract you. And it's going to be, the universe testing you. They'll send you a feather. Have you heard that? The feather, the brick, the Mack truck, until you start taking notice of where you are in the world, how you're aligned. If you're on a course where things are not in alignment with who you are as a person, or if you're not being your true authentic self, don't worry, the universe will tell you about it. It will send opportunities your way to try and bring you back into alignment. It'll send you messages. But here's the thing. So many of us are in survival mode. So many of us have our blinkers on that we're missing the opportunities that are there every single day screaming at us. And this comes back to the strategy versus the action, and when you learn something from someone that you think, wow, that could absolutely change the whole game for me, don't just have the thought and then dismiss it. Like, have the thought and go, how can I implement this as quickly as possible? Because that speed of implementation is key, because once you lose it, you lose the inspiration. And then a week goes past, 2 weeks go past, and you go, oh, that's right, I had that thought about that, but you're not feeling as inspired about it anymore, and then you've lost the opportunity. So yes, action is great, but also the speed of implementation of that action is absolutely crucial for you to having the success in the area, whatever area it is that you're working on. Did I just go on a big tangent? I felt like I just did a big loop.
It's good. And, you're right. Like, success does love speed. So yeah, if you, and here's what's going to happen. And I know that, like, the listeners can relate to this, because has there ever been a time where you've had this amazing idea and then you haven't taken action on it, and then 3 or 6 months later, or maybe a bit longer, you see someone else making a ton of money and having a lot of success from your idea that you had? So that idea is coming into your head, you've created it, and it's just gone into the mind, and someone else's, like, it's just dropped into someone else's head, because the universe wants it to happen. And if you're not going to get off your ass and do it, it's going to find someone else that will. And they're going to get the rewards. And that is your lesson, because you're watching them implement something that you could have done earlier, and you could have been first to market and you didn't. So there's your lesson. So,
and can I just add in there too, mate, because we're part of the network marketing profession as well. And it doesn't just have to be an idea. It could be a person. Like, we see it so often in this profession where you think about that person, you go, I'd love to work with them, or I'd love to, just share our products or our service with that person. You have the thought, but you don't act on it. And then all of a sudden, someone else in your company or in another company has shared their product or their service or something else. And now all of a sudden that person has gone and joined somebody else, and you kick yourself because you didn't act on it. You knew what to do, but you let fear, or you let the inspiration leave you, or you thought you had all the time in the world to reach out to them, and all of a sudden that person's gone and you've lost that opportunity. So I just wanted to bring that in as well, Joel, that it's not always just like, it could be with people as well. Like, you're not using the resources around you, your contacts, the people that are in your peer group, I guess. Like that's also a massive factor as well in taking action.
It's massive, and it's happened to the best of us, and it happens to the best in the business, even these days. I know many instances of, like, the top people in business and coaching and network marketing and affiliate marketing missing the star because they just didn't have the courage, or something got in the road, and they didn't take immediate action. So immediate action is a big one. And something I want to cover today, which is, like, it's strategy, but I want you to be careful, listeners, about where you get your advice from, where you actually get the strategy from. And, look, how do you know? Well, I guess ultimately you're never going to know 100%. You're never going to be 100% sure, like that. And I don't want that to stop you from taking the action to move forward. Like, think to create, feel to decide. If the person that you're going to get coached by or assisted by, or the course you're going to do feels right, then even if it overall technically in other people's eyes would be a bad decision, maybe there's that one thing you need to learn in there that's great. And a strategy that, and I get a lot of flack for it. So would be deemed to be quite a successful coach. I've been making a good living from coaching for quite a while now. It's more than a hobby and it's more than pocket money, to say the least. And, Christine and I are building a successful coaching business like together as well. So she knows what I'm talking about. I do not have a business card. I do not have a pretty banner. I do not have, branding shots. I do not have like all this stuff. Like, I don't have a logo. I don't know if I just said that. Like, I do not have a logo. Like, this is usually the stuff that people go for first. And guys, that does not make you any money. You are going to the market with something that you hope the market's going to care about, and you've got no context in the market and no one gives a shit, especially if you're starting out. Like, logos are not for your clients. They're to make you feel important. So, like, there's a smack on the wrist. If you go to someone who's telling you that step one is pretty branding shots, their business is selling you pretty branding shots. So congratulations to them, but that's not going to get you clients. Like, getting, and spending a ton of money to learn how to be a coach is helping the coach that's teaching how to coach. Now, I'm not saying that don't do it. I'm just suggesting that be wary of doing it first. You don't need a sticker on a wall. You do not need a certificate. To be honest, most people out there that are giving you a certificate have pulled it out of a cereal box. They've made it up. Like, Christine and I could certify people as coaching in JK Connect. We don't need any certification for it. We can just print it out and give you a certificate. I'm not saying that's a bad thing. I'm not saying don't go learn off people that have gone before you. I'm just saying, like, the $20,000, $30,000, $40,000 that you could spend going down that rabbit hole of how to be a coach could easily be saved by just applying what you've learned from going to an event. Go get a coach. Do go get a coach. I'm just saying that don't spend a ton of money starting a business. And this is, I'm using coaching as an example, but like, it could be any business, by spending it on shitloads of expensive marketing, shitloads of Facebook ads and all that, and going to some social media guru that, like, they often charge you quite a lot of money and don't back it with results. Well, who's the only one guaranteed to make money in that transaction? You know what I mean? What I'm doing, listeners, is saving you money. And I've made good money in coaching and I haven't done all the things that I've been told are so important. Like that the market's out there telling you to do. Like, is there a spot for me to do branding shoots now? Absolutely. But I'm 3.5 years into coaching. I'm 4 years into coaching. Before that, I was doing it for free because I was a CEO. And you did, like Christine, like, you've seen it enough yourself, haven't you? Like, let's wake them up and shake them up. Let's save them some money.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. You've just absolutely nailed it there. And I'm gonna let our listeners in on a secret. I don't know if they know this, but you're not getting out of this life alive. Like, people are living as if they're going to live forever. And I'm sorry to tell you, if you've listened to one of our podcasts before, Joel's giving you the lowdown. We've only got 8 good years. 8 good years to live the life of our design, of our choosing, of our, the way that we want. When you take out sleep and eating and all the other things, work and travel and commuting and everything like that. So, speed of implementation, implementing the strategies that you're learning, like taking the action, it's an obligation, guys. If you learn it, implement it. Okay. If you learn it, teach it on. Don't hold all that knowledge to yourself. If you're a self-development junkie, go and share what you're learning with the rest of the world. That's how we're going to raise the vibration of the planet. That's how we're going to raise the consciousness. And, all the people that are doing all these self-development things are very open-minded. They're very positive. They have a optimistic look on life, or maybe they're not, and they're coming there to change, But I know that every course and everything that I've done, I've never gone away going, oh, that was shit, but I've gone away with the intention of implementing what I've learned, at least 1 to 2 things that could just be that 1 degree of difference, that 1% of improvement that you need, that is going to take your whole life, your whole business, your whole fitness, health, whatever, in a totally different direction, and get you closer to those goals. And you've heard it, I think it was on the last podcast or the one before, Joel said, just 1%, implementing 1% of change a day. Like at the end of the year, it's 365% better than what you were today. So it's that compound effect. We've spoken about that before.
So like, Christine, you hit the nail on the head for me. Something that I heard, it was actually from Big Bang Theory when I was on a plane.
I like that show.
It's a funny story, but a show, but I think Sheldon was the guy that said it. Someone says, "Oh, you know what?" And he said, "In 100," and he goes, "Yes, in 100 years, we'll all be dead, and none of this would have mattered." And that was just blew my mind. It stuck with me forever. So when you're worrying about the petty shit, when you're worried about what that person's opinion is going to mean to you, and then I'm going to let you in on something really crazy. The person's opinion that you're worried about, they actually don't give a shit. They're actually not thinking about you. You're the one putting thoughts in their head. They're worried about themselves. Their little opinion, even if they did have it for you, would be in their brain for about 1 minute at the most, if you are lucky. So why would you let a thought that 99%, I'm nearly 100% certain, is only in your head, not even in the person's head, that you're worried about, stop you from taking the action, moving from strategy to action, And Christine, I know what some of these, the listeners are going to be thinking, oh, I don't have a certificate. I can't share. I can't teach. I'm not allowed to teach. I can't teach how to alkalize a body. I'm not qualified. I'm not, I haven't been to 19 years of uni to become certified in this. I can't coach. I don't have a certification. I'm not covered. All this crap. Christine, I know you've got even stronger views than me. Hit them.
Yep.
Hit them.
I do. You know what? I went to see a guy called Don Tolman on the Gold Coast many years ago. And Don Tolman has been, he's just immersed himself in the whole food, raw food, healing disease through food for he's dedicated his life to it. Basically, he went right back looking for ancient wisdom, that had been burnt and hidden from the public, and he's managed to find this treasure and teach people about signature foods and things like that. Now, one of Don's things is he stands at the front of the room. He goes, he does a lot. He's on TV. He does a lot of interviews, and they always ask him for his qualifications. What are your qualifications? What university did you go to? And he's just like, I'm self-educated, because he's immersed himself in the area where he wanted to be the expert. Guys, you don't need a flipping certificate. Okay. I'm a health coach. I don't have a bit of paper to tell me that, about food. We all know what to do when it comes to food. Don't overcomplicate the process. I get that people do want to be the expert, and that's where their passion is, and so they go and get the bits of paper. Amazing. Do that if that's your field and your passion and you want to immerse yourself in it. I don't have a certificate in coaching, yet I've got a successful coaching business. It's the same with network marketing. Network marketing never used to be considered a career choice, but now it's starting to show up in universities as a course that people can choose to study more. How amazing is that? So I'm massively, I'm not going to people that have the bits of paper. It's like getting married as well. People think that getting that bit of paper on that marriage certificate is going to change the whole relation. It's going to improve it. It's going to, whatever. No, you don't need that. I've been with my partner for 10 years and I still call him my hubby, but we're not officially married. We don't feel like we need to go down and get the bit of paper. We're quite happy with the life that we've created, So don't feel like you have to chase the qualification. Okay. And don't feel like you have to wait until you've finished the course as well. Like I know a lot of people go to uni and they're like, I can't work in that field because I haven't got all the qualifications, I haven't got all the things. No, just start practicing in it. Just whatever it is, whether it's a PT or just go and hang around people that have created the success in their area that you want to create. But here's the thing, and I'm not going to bullshit our listeners today, Joel, in like just go and do what the successful people are doing. That's hard to do because here's what we're seeing. Social media has made this really, really hard in order for us to go and just implement and mimic what the successful people are doing, because all we're seeing is the highlight reels. We're not seeing the tons of hours, the rejection, the no's, the late nights, the early starts. We're not seeing what they're doing in the background. If most people saw that, they would be going, oh, no, that's all too hard. I won't even give it a go. But we're seeing the highlight reels. So it's not as easy as just saying to someone, go and mimic someone that's, being successful in your area. What we teach people is go and have a conversation with that person. Go and find out what was that first step that they took. How did they get started? What were some of the challenges? What was their greatest lesson? What was their biggest mistake that they've learned from that they wish they, could have gone back and maybe not made? Like, go and find out the cracks of their success, the behind the scenes stuff that no one's talking about. That's where the real growth and the knowledge is going to come from, is from the people that have done what you want to create. Does that make sense, Joel?
Absolutely. And like, just for the listeners' benefit, Christine, like, what time of the night were you still awake last night?
3 a.m.
See, that's not on Christine's social media. Or mate, probably knowing you it is, or it will be. You were pretty open about like your good and bad days, which I really admire about you a lot, and it's why we get on so well. Because like in my coaching, people find it refreshing that I don't just stand on my soapbox and share like knowledge like this. I like share, like people learn from my stories about my mistakes way more. So anyone that coaches with me finds that totally different because to most. So it isn't all about the highlight reel. It is all about just taking that action and, like losing the easy, thinking that it's going to be easy. It's not going to be easy, and realistically, when people, I think a lot of people out there traditionally think that when I say hard, they think backbreaking work maybe. I think it means like working 40 hours a week for $700 and fear that you're going to not make the bills or you're going to get fired. That to me, that is actually hard, and, you hear so many people saying, do what you love, like that's great, but that no one said do what you love and it'll always be easy. That's not what anyone's saying. You've got to really just mind the thoughts that are in your head about what the situation is going to be, because like the wealth is found in the monotony. Christine got to the top of a network marketing company. Like she's like, you listeners, you do not know, I went on a trip to America with Christine and she's a freaking rock star in America. Like people are just like mentioning her, like, oh, and I'm like, yeah, I'm just here with Christine. Oh, Christine Drummond. Oh my God. So, but like that did not come from 4 Facebook posts and some attraction marketing. That came from grinding it out day in, day out, monotonously. And Christine found a way to find joy in that, to be a successful mum, to be a successful wife, partner, and to like so many other things, like looking after a family, like being the most generous, one of the most generous people I've ever met, do anything for so many people, like she makes epic shit happen, but it wasn't drinking a beer on the beach every freaking day. That's the point I want to get across. That's the action. And there's the strategy, right? So does that make sense, Christine? Like I've given you a big shout out and I hope you didn't blush.
Oh my God. Yeah. My head's just grown about 10 times the size. Thank you, Joel. And I'm going to give a shout out to our USA listeners over there. We love you guys. Total sense, mate. Honestly, it does. And I think the more that we share, I suppose, not so much the struggles, but the lessons, the more everyone's going to benefit, So it's really important that, and we're the same. We love to share the rawness, the realness. It hasn't always been easy, and we share the parts of our stories that where we've grown the most, where we've learnt the most, and I think it's so refreshing when you hear that other people have walked the same path, or other people are going through what you're going through, or been through what you've been through. And a lot of the time we're told to, not share that stuff, especially in network marketing. When you're a leader, you're supposed to act a certain way. You're supposed to behave a certain way. You're supposed to always be high energy and, be the leader and save face and all this kind of stuff. Well, those times are over. People just want the raw, the real bits, and I feel like that's definitely what we get to bring to our listeners. And I hope our listeners agree with that as well, that Joel and I, we don't fluff around, we tell you how it is. And it's so refreshing, to be able to work with Joel as well. We're both Virgos, so I think that's why we get along as well.
Oh,
We're
wow.
both September babies.
I want to let you close out the podcast just want to know what you think about this quote that I read from Elena Cardone. So those of you who don't know, she's she's a billionaire with Grant Cardone. That they're really blown up over the last 10 years. Super, super amazing family. And she put a quote up the other day, and, I know a little bit about them. They've shared a little bit of stuff with a small group that we're in, where she told how hard it is. And when they were going towards they were growing their business, that some of these other bigger Wall Street money-backed companies were coming after her. The banks didn't like what they were doing because they were helping people. Anyway, she said, "Don't underestimate the last 25 years I've spent making this look so easy." What do you think about that, Christine?
Yeah, that's a really cool quote, and I really respect that and admire that lady. She is incredible, and yeah, look her up. I totally agree. I totally agree with that, because so many people walk in on your chapter 20 or your 20th year, of putting the hard yards in, and they think you've got it all easy. They think that this just came to you overnight, or, but it's not true, guys. Anything that's worth having, it takes time to accumulate it, and when we talk about implementing that strategy, someone put a post up the other day about Usain Bolt. Usain Bolt has spent 20 years to get however many gold medals, and he's only, he only runs for 10 seconds at a time, or less than 10 seconds. You know what I mean? Yes, he's had all this success recently in the last couple of years, but no one's looked at the last 20 years that it took him to get to that success. You know what I mean? It's crucial. It's crucial for people to play the long game. That's what we're getting at with that quote. That's what we want you to look at, is that success doesn't come overnight. And sometimes you'll hit success and it'll be taken away from you, or you'll have to rebuild it. And that's okay too. There's an abundance amount of money out there. And it should be in your mindset that if you got it once, you can do it again. You should be looking at opportunities like that, you know what, I've had it before, I can make it again. And what's another way that I can do it? Let's get creative. That one didn't work. Let's think of something else. So yeah, I absolutely love that quote. So great podcast today, Joel. I think we touched on quite a few different topics in there, and we're going to go into depth, as we said, probably next week, more into sales, and we'll look more at some strategies around sales and how to improve your bottom line. But for today, we hope you got value out of that podcast and, got a few takeaways from it. But as we said, if you were like us and you're one of those self-development junkies, jumping from course to course, book to book, then maybe it's time to just stop, give yourself some permission to stop, take some time out, and go and start implementing some of those strategies that you've actually been learning. And just by doing that alone, I think it's something like, if you implement 15 new ideas a month in your business, you're going to have at least a 20% growth. So if you've been like us over the years, pouring into self-development, personal development, you're going to have more than 15 ideas that you can implement a month. So go out there and implement, guys, and we wish you every success. We know you're going to be successful if you keep chipping away at this and keep compounding the skills and everything that you're learning. Joel, do you have anything else to say?
No, I'm just going to drop the mic. Have a most outstanding day.
Damn. Yeah.